Welcome back to another episode of Arnold's Thoughts Podcast. It's your boy Arnold, and today we got another segment of frequently asked questions.
What are you thinking? Yeah. What are you thinking? Yeah. If you wanna know my thoughts, open your ears when I talk. Yeah. What are you thinking? Hey. What are you thinking? Hey. If you wanna know my thoughts, open your ears when I talk. Yeah.
Before I get started, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button so I can keep giving you guys the game of what it takes and what it really happens in this overseas life of a basketball player. Let's get it. Okay, so the first question is, why do NBA players play overseas? And I think this question is coming because everybody is looking at Dwight. He made his debut in Taiwan. So everybody wants to know why do they go and play overseas? Well, to me, simply enough, is because they still want to play basketball. Yes, you made it to the NBA. Yes, you are a superstar in the NBA. But that doesn't change the love of the game that you have for yourself. You still love the game. You still can play the game. You can still get money, good money, playing overseas. Everybody always think you can make money overseas playing basketball in the NBA. No. You can make good money overseas playing basketball. And actually the love that you get overseas basketball sometimes is way more cherished in the NBA. Because even with Dwight, I heard him on a little snippet on the Shannon Sharp podcast on his show, and he was like, "This is how y'all do me. This is how y'all do me. I win all these championships. I'm like 4-time defensive player of the year. I'm a Hall of Famer, all this and that, and I can't even make it in the league. I'm just blackballed." That's why most NBA players go overseas. A lot of times they be blackballed, and you got to think about it. How many people are coming out of college? It's only like 400 spots in the league, and then you got G League, and then you got top Euro League. So everybody's cramming into the NBA, into the small. You got millions and millions of players trying to make it on the 400. It's only 400. What's up, guys? I just dropped my new ebook, 6 Must-Have Steps to Be an Overseas Basketball Player. You know, I've been playing for the last 9 years. I got all the steps and the traits that you need to start your journey with networking, with getting a mentor, all the things that you need to start your journey to be a protege. So go get that ebook, click the link in the bio, and make sure you get your steps to being that overseas pro one day. Let's go. So you got to be on your A game at all times, and just because you're not able to play on the team, because you might be good and then somebody comes in and they're just outperforming you by a little bit. So what you're going to do? Sit out? You're going to sit out for a season? I don't think so. You could be like, oh, well, I can't go over here to Europe and get 15 million, 10 million. I think it was like Josh Richardson or something like that. He was playing for the Hawks. I can't remember his name. He used to be the guy with the big fro. He was getting paid by the Hawks, I think like 7-8 million. But they offered him 20 million a year to play in Australia. You tell me, which one would you rather play? Oh yeah, I'm playing in the NBA. Yeah, I'm getting paid all this. I'm a part of the organization, and I get to play in the league. I already been here 2-3 years, but this overseas country is willing to pay me 3 times as much money as I'm getting paid in the NBA right now. What would you do? Why would you not want to go over there and play for more money and then have the possibility of coming back to the NBA whenever you want to? You're going to get paid less regardless. 5-6 million compared to 20 million. That's probably one of the biggest reasons why you see a lot of NBA players. Most of the times, if you just touch the league, that's all you want to do is just get stamped. Regardless of how good, you just want to get stamped as being in the NBA. If you could just get that stamp, that NBA stamp, you're going to get so much more money because you got the stamp, approved, certified. Apostage it, when you go get it notarized. You're set. You're going to get paid a lot more. Just because Mike Beasley, he in China. Stephen Marbury, he went to China. glorified, got a statue. You go in the NBA getting blackballed. They not liking you. They not even rocking with you. They tearing you down. You're not good. You're not winning, performing. And you got to think about most guys are out here trying to play and live the best of their lives. They're trying to play the game and enjoy the game. And you got to remember, everybody who plays basketball in the beginning has a love for the game. You have a deep desire, love for the game. And then when you play that game for so long, it don't just go away. You always go back to what you do. And you play for free. Most guys still play the game for free, regardless. So if I'm in a place where I'm not even wanted, but I still love the game and somebody's willing to pay for it, why not? Why not go overseas? That's the reason I believe a lot of NBA players go overseas. Not because they're not good enough. It's just the market is small. People are getting better every single day. So sometimes and plus sometimes it's just better money. I know I read an article when Dennis Rodman got done playing in the NBA, he went and played for some team overseas and for like a month, averaged like 28 rebounds or something crazy and won like some big Euro League or some crazy championship. He still had love for the game. You win a championship overseas or you win a championship in the NBA, you're gonna be in love with the fact that you still won you a championship. Do not take that for granted, winning a championship. So that's why I believe NBA players play overseas. Next question. When does overseas basketball start? Most of the time, the overseas basketball league starts the same time as the school year. So normally, I don't know if I answered this question in the last time I did a frequently asked question, but I'll answer it again. Normally it starts I know in Europe, they normally try to do 10-month season. So it'll be from like August to May or June. No, June will make it 11. So August and May, that's normally a season. In Japan, I know it's 9 months. So it'd be like September to May. Normally the average starting time is between August and September, halfway through September. Taiwan, as you can see, like where the white just went, they start later on in the season. The Western Asian Super League that just started, they started in November and they end in like May, 6-7 months. I know teams that countries like Canada, they start like in December, but the average basketball season, the best way to compare it is to an average school year. So between August, mid to late August to about May. Anytime you go past May, it's because you're in the playoffs and you're in the finals. Like my season that I last played in Chile, we went all the way until June, halfway through June, because we went to game 6 of the finals. That's about the only time that it would just creep over and last that long. And that was like 7-month season, 7.5. Yep. And then you got the summer seasons. Those start from like May to August. Those would be those summer league seasons from like May to August, midway through August. Just depends on how long you go. DR, Venezuela, China has their summer league, or some just examples. I know Australia is another league that has a summer league where they're not going to be more than 2 to 3 months, 2.5 to 3.5 months max. Those are like the two different seasons that are the norm, I would say, when it comes to basketball and the season length that goes on. Next question. How many overseas basketball teams are there? Well, how many overseas? That is, I can't just give you that answer just because there's just too many leagues. I'll just give the example of here. I'm in Argentina and I'm in the second division of Argentina. And we have 2 divisions, 2 conferences, I should say. We're in the South and in the North. There's about 12 teams just in the South Conference. Then there's another 12 in the North Conference. And then you got the first division, where there's about 15 teams, 16 teams in that whole first division. Then there's like a third league that has like another 12 to 13 per conference. So that alone is what? 50 teams, 55 teams just in one country. Chile, they have first, second division. It'd be like 10 to 15 teams there. Second division, it'd be the same thing, 10 to 15 each conference. So there are a lot of leagues. You got to go by country. There's so many different countries. You got to go by whatever country and whatever standard for that country for the leagues and division. Japan has a lot of teams. They have a lot of divisions. They pay well. Asia is just be popping. They be popping. Bigger countries, more leagues, more different basketball opportunities so you can play. It's just a way of navigating your way through there and finding one that fits you. 3-on-3 is starting to pick up a lot. So that's a whole other aspect of a league that's starting up, and that's so new. Like there's just a bunch of tournaments and stuff like that, but that's a whole league. I almost before I came to this team was supposed to go and play in China for a 3-on-3 team, and they was gonna get paid more money there than I was gonna get here. So basketball is just so much on the rise that I feel like there's endless opportunities and it's limited. Because the majority, regardless of how many teams there are in leagues, there's only so many spots. Because the average amount of players that are on a team are between 1 to 3. And about half of that is 1 to 2. So you're not getting such a great chance unless you're just that good of a player and you work just as hard, or you're just that good that your name is buzzing and you got a good agent and you put up good numbers and you got a good resume. Actually, in how hard you work in the situation and what country you run, and like, cause sometimes you can go to one country and they won't even let you play in another country because they don't respect that country. That's a whole another topic for another time. Next question: can I become an overseas basketball player? Yes, you can. You know how you start? Pick up my book, 6 Must-Have Traits to Become an Overseas Basketball Player. I know the name is long, but that's the truth. 6 must-have traits you must have to become an overseas basketball player. Anybody can become a basketball player if they have the right traits, the right attributes, the right skill set. But before you even get to on-court situations, you got to have the off-court situations to get you there. This game is a lot more than a crossover, a jump shot. It's a lot more than that. You have to have the right traits, the right skills, the right people. All those have to be in sequence, and all those have to incorporate each other one way or another, or you will not be able to play this game. If you can get these things in order, the traits, the skills, the connections, you put those together, Holy Trinity, you can play this game. I don't care if you never even touched the basketball before and you decide, you know what, I'm going to commit to playing basketball overseas. You can do it. You definitely can do it. That's why I highly recommend you pick up my book, because it's going to help you. It's so much that it just breaks down of building your connections, mentoring people that you could talk to that can help you to get to being an overseas basketball player. It's just so many things that I go into depth that you don't really realize that people are not really talking about, which will be the biggest game changers to helping you become a pro one day or becoming a pro. There's certain steps that you got to do and certain traits that you got to have first to be a pro. So yes, you can play overseas basketball if you have the right traits. It's more internal than external. I promise you. It's way more internally, the person that you are and the things that you do internally, that makes the basketball player an overseas basketball player. Hands down. Hands down. So definitely pick that book up, 6 Must-Have Traits to Become an Overseas Basketball Player. That's going to help you definitely start your journey. If you're serious enough, it ain't going to be easy. I'm not promising you nothing. I'm definitely not promising you. Ain't no fake promising. Disclaimer. This ain't no promise that you will make it, but this will definitely help you cut a lot of issues out of the way and get you a lot further along. Next question. Can you try out for overseas basketball? Yes and yes. That goes back to the connections that you build. So there's like this thing that goes on in the States where they have these camps, right? And they say, well, you come to this tryout and you play, you pay your money, and then you get a chance to try out for these teams. This is true, and also a lot of scammery. There ain't really no tryout going on. You hear me? It's very rare that I hear I got an overseas basketball tryout. You either get a contract or that's it. Ain't no such thing as really a tryout. They ain't gonna be like, no, you come over here and let me just put you. If you're like a part of a bigger organization, they'll probably invite you for a tryout. But I've been to one tryout, an actual real tryout for a team. And that was in China, and that was a big organization. Those are the type of teams that or organizations, they would literally bring you in, fly you in as if you're a regular, pay you, house you, treat you as if you're already on the team to give you a tryout for the team. You're not just walking up to any team or, hey, listen, when are y'all open tryouts? That don't really happen. No open tryouts for no overseas team. I've been playing for 9 years and I ain't never really heard of no team with no open tryouts. What I have heard of is camps. People go pay your money in your camp. They some of them do work. My very first gig that I played that I got to Mexico, somebody told me about a camp. It was a money. A lot of these be money grabs, man. I don't even want to get your hopes up to think that it's just guaranteed. I done got burnt. You hear me? Burnt. Going for overseas tryout camps. You pay your money. They take you to a country. You play like 4 or 5 games. That's technically your tryout, but you spending some money. Like at that time, I was like 24, fresh out of college. I had no job, no nothing. I scrapped up my last little. I went to this camp. I went to one camp. Got on. We just paid our money. It was like $500. I paid the money. We ended up winning the camp. I was the best player at the camp. Coach said, hey, you want to come to Mexico with me? Went to Mexico with him. Got on the team. Got cut in 2 weeks. Get out of here. They cut me. They cut me after 2 weeks, which is cool. Hey, no hate, no shade. That's the business. I used that money, paid to go to another camp. I used every dime I made from that one camp and used it to go to the next camp. And nothing came from it. And I killed. I absolutely destroyed it. I guess you were building a name for yourself, but from that I got nothing from it. And I wasn't the only one. It was about 9 of us, so we all paid like $1,200, and we got nothing from it. So be careful when it comes to these tryouts. So you hear somebody talking about a tryout, because there ain't really no tryout going on, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you. There ain't really too many tryouts unless you just got a agent that plug you in with a team, and then you get a closed run, or you go to a team and they fly you in personally. That's about the only type of tryout, and those are far and few. They bring you either got a contract or you don't. There ain't no in between. There really isn't no in between. So I don't want you to get your hopes up and thinking that, man, you can just come out here and try out for some team and if they telling you to come for a tryout and they charging you, be careful for those money grabs, bro. Just be careful. Next question. Do they drug test overseas? Do teams drug tests? Yes. Yes, they're going to drug test you. If you blow it down, if you on the weed, like Stephen A. say, they're going to drug test you. They're going to drug test you. Every country that I have been to, 90% of them drug test. I played in South America. In DR, I wasn't there long enough. Colombia, drug test. Chile, drug test. Argentina, drug test. Thailand, drug test. Uruguay, drug test. They are going to drug test you. I'm telling you now. Some people might tell you that, you know what, they're not as strong with it. They're not going to be like so in your face. Like as soon as you get here, it's mandatory drug test. Now I ain't gonna lie. Japan, Asia, off the plane, you're getting drug tested. So you can say, well, I didn't play. I haven't been playing. I just been at home or whatever. If you're coming into the country, and especially if you're coming into Asian countries, you're getting drug tested off the rip. Off the bat, as soon as you get in the country, 1 2 days, you're getting drug tested off the rip. So you better be very, 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 very careful. Because you could trick off a big bag because you was on the tree. And we're not trying to blow our bags for nothing. Definitely not trying to do that. Definitely don't want to blow our bag. So, please be careful when it comes to drug testing. I'll give you a quick little story real quick. I had a guy that I played with. He was a lot older than me. I was at like 25 at the time. I was on a minor league. He was on the minor league team with me. He was like 10 years older than me. And he was playing in South Korea. Getting paid like $25K a month. Getting paid big money. Played there for like 2 seasons. He ended up getting drug tested because one of the other players got drug tested. And he was smoking at the time as well, but he was like, he got by. Because there's so many ways to trick it off and get over on the drug test. If you want to be one of those people, I have seen so many people, I'm not even going to lie to you. I ain't never been able to scam off on the drug test because a lot of the times, as soon as you go to go take that piss and you ready to go do it, they're right here. I'm watching you. I'm looking right at your stuff. Go ahead and piss in that cup. I'm right here. I'm looking. Ain't no privacy like you gotta turn your back. I'm right here on top of your head. Go ahead. I'll wait. They're waiting. They're watching. He ended up getting somebody on the other team, on a whole other team, got drug tested and snitched on him like, well, he got drug. He's smoking too. Dang, and now that I think back at that, that's so messed up. Because that one incident, he's never been able to go back to South Korea. And he was getting paid. He was like, I was getting paid so much money. You gotta think about it, he's getting paid like around $25,000 a month. I don't think anybody want to give that job up. For playing basketball, I'm talking about, and you gotta understand, once you get these opportunities to make it to some of these countries, you do not want to mess that up. You're like, man, I hit a game one and the manager came in there, he slid me $10,000 extra dollars underneath the table. Man, that was a great shot. Here you go, extra 10 bands, some pocket change here. You want to mess that up? I know we live in an era where weed is legalized. Weed is more of a medicine. I ain't even gonna lie, I used to be on the weed heavily. I recently just got off. So I'm not here knocking nobody when it comes to the tree. But everything comes with a risk at a price. Good price, that's up to you. It's your decision. I ain't never telling nobody to do nothing with their life. But if you're playing basketball, 90% of the people, 90% of teams, 90% of organizations, leagues, they're probably going to drug test you. So be aware of that. Next question. Do overseas basketball players pay taxes? No, but they don't pay taxes in the country that they're in. Once you get paid, once you get handed a salary, they are going to give you, how do I say this? They're going to give you here. This is your salary. If you sign for $3,000 a month, you're going to get $3,000 a month. They're not going to take nothing out of that. Your agent fees, that's going to be covered. That's going to be covered. You ain't got to pay no taxes. But I will tell you this, because it has happened to me, and a lot of these situations has happened to me. Once you come back home, see, think about this scenario. You've been playing for 7 years. You've been getting paid decent money. Let's say you've been getting paid, let's say $5,000. You made a consistent $5,000 a month for 8 months out of the year for 5-6 years. That's excellent. Not a lot of guys consider that. Not even close. That's excellent. Say you're really good and you get a good contract, 2-3 years, and you're getting paid 100, 200,000. You know, because that's what your goal is. You do want to go play in some places where they're gonna pay you some real bread. Like you want to get them 100,000, $10,000 a month. You balling. Don't get it twisted. If you're making $10,000 a month, you making some really good money. And the government want to know where you getting this money from. So even though you're not paying the team or whatever take care of the taxes in their country, you're gonna start having to account for those taxes in the country that you live in. And if you come from America like I did, they hit me with a mean fine. I hadn't filed my taxes playing after like 4, 5, 6 years, and I had to file. Boy, they hit me with a mean. I'm still dealing with tax issue problems with them because of that. Don't take it lightly. That's one thing I always teach you on. I really stress and emphasize a lot to a lot of hoopers too. Dealing with taxes, man. Dealing with taxes is definitely something you got to take care of. Do not take it lightly. You go over here, you're making this all tax-free money. You come in stacking your bank account up. You're living good. You're watching your money build up. Eventually, that government is going to come asking questions for that bread. They are going to come asking for that money. Where did this money come from? How are you getting this money? Why haven't you been filing this money? There is ways to get around that and make it work for you overall. But please believe, do not take that tax situation lightly. They will come after you. They will find you. And the longer you wait, the longer it is going to, the more it's going to hurt, the more they're going to tax you. I don't care. They're going to tax you. You're not going to have, you got to think about America in itself in a whole. You're not going to just get away with just scot-free money. It might be for a little bit. It might be for a time. You might have a homeboy. You might have a friend that might have been able to get over or something. But why would you want to take that risk? Everybody feel like I'm the exception. You're going to be the exception, all right? You're going to be exceptionally taxed. Exceptionally taxed. So please pay attention to the taxes. You better make sure that you don't. Quick tip. I'll give you a perfect example how you get over the tax situation. You get a job in America. You pick up a little small job. I'll give you one right now. DoorDash. They're going to give you W-2s. You do DoorDash for a weekend. Like when you home, you get off from a season or something, or you say you want to go play, and you're already playing. Well, when you come home in the summer, do DoorDash for the summer. Why? Because now you got a W-2 and now you can file that for your taxes. They just want to see you getting paid something. Now you got something to show them. You're always going to have a paper trail. If you keep that money at a certain amount, you're making $4 or $5 and you just put DoorDash, and then you just put, I work 2-3 months. They ain't going to come ask for nothing because, you work here at DoorDash. It don't matter where you got all the rest of that. Now, that's just a tip. You use that however you want. But, don't quote me, but that's just a way to kind of move around the whole tax issue. There's just little things. You always want to get another job, not to put your main job, because it's too hard to you don't want them going inside your pockets and taking your money. We're trying to keep money in our pockets instead of having people take money out of our pockets. That's the whole point of the game. Keep the money in your pocket, stack it up, run it up. So that's one key. Next question. Who owns teams in overseas basketball? Well, it just depends on a lot of teams. It just depends on the club. I mean, in a lot of situations, it just depends on the city, because a lot of the teams are owned by other organizations. Like where I play at, this team Hispania, they're owned by a club. A club is like where they have multiple different teams there. They got a gymnastics team, they got a hockey team, they have a baseball team. It's clubs. That's a lot of countries they're ran by clubs. A lot of clubs own the team, and they be the one who have the sponsors behind the team because they are a team. And it doesn't just be the team; it be all different people from the city who goes to this club, and the club takes care of all the expenses and all the things that has to do with the team. Then, like, okay, Chile, the last team I was with, they were ran by university. The university owned the team, and they take care of all that. Majority of the time, the organizations that have teams are big, like either universities, clubs. Rarely you have just solo owners. It's always a company that owns the club. You know, there's never really just one person like this, my team, and something like that. No, it's normally an electric company, a hotel, are the sponsors to this club because it's a tax write-off and they can use it for endorsements and stuff like that. Those are normally the people that are running teams. Now you do have places like in Mexico where you got big boys who owns the teams. But even then, when I say big boys, I mean the big boy dope runners. I'm talking about yes, they do exist. I'm being real with you. Yes, there is a lot of drug dealer kingpin types who own basketball teams. Just because drug dealers and big boys doesn't mean that they don't love basketball, still love sports. So they have a lot of their hands in on the money. They're like the quiet owners. But that's the only place I've seen that really happen is really in Mexico. Because Mexico is like that. What you see on the movies and stuff like that, it's really like that. It's really like that. That's just a whole nother topic for a whole nother situation. But on average, it's normally a club. Majority of the times, clubs are the ones that runs the teams and the organizations and the whole aspect. They normally are the ones that run the team. That's all I got for you guys today. I hope you got value out of this. If any other questions you want to know, please hit the like and subscribe right in the comments. Let me know what else you want to know, and I'll do my best to give y'all as much information as I got. Till next time, bye.